Well, I'm a painter, and I've been doing it since I was a small child. I mean, I've been making art since I was probably could hold a crayon, and I've carried on doing that. And I suppose the reason why I still do it is because every time I finish something, I'm a bit disappointed with it. So I keep coming back to try and, make things right with myself, I suppose. The backbone of my work is painting. I always return to painting, and that's always been running through it. But there are a variety of other works that I make. There have been performance pieces. One of them was Happy Cloud, which I did a couple of years ago, where I released thousands of smiley-faced soap clouds from outside the Tate towards the financial district, which is more of a sort of political work. I make installation pieces in museums and galleries, and increasingly sculptural work and film work as well. So right across the spectrum, really. I like to get in the studio early, and I'm quite organised about what I need to do. For me, the routine's really important, and I find that if I know where I am, when I am, and everything's organised, then I can really get lost in the act of actually making the work. I get to work maybe 7:38, answer a few emails or whatever, and then I get down to painting. Right now I'm just priming the canvas with some gesso, which is really important for a couple of reasons. One, I actually like quite a strong kind of tooth to my canvas, so that when I paint it, I've got something to grip onto. And two, it protects the canvas. I think hard work's important in whatever you want to do. And it's hours. You wouldn't expect to be a great concert pianist and play for 2 minutes a week. It just doesn't happen like that. And painting's the same. I've got a few sort of early memories of my childhood and art. I think one of the most profound ones was when I saw a real Van Gogh painting when I was about 8, when my mum took me to the National Gallery. And that really sort of stuck in my head. But also just works I'd made, I'd share them with my friends and family, and they said they were good, and it sort of gave me encouragement to keep doing it, I think. I had quite a severe thing happen to me when I was a teenager. I died from an anaphylactic shock for a few seconds, and after that I reevaluated a lot of things, and I realised how important art was to me, and how I really wanted to spend my whole life doing that. I really like the soft body paints. Again, they're kind of creamy and they're really smooth, and I don't really like to see the brush marks in my work too much, so the soft bodies tend to go on really flat, and they give it that kind of flat, sort of solid look that I really like. Acrylic paint is the sort of backbone of my practice, I'd say, and the reason for that is, well, I'm familiar with it. It does everything that I want to do, and it's reliable for me, so I can think about what I'm communicating, what I'm trying to make, and I don't have to worry about that. So the brush that you use is also really, really important if you want to get it really flat and fluid like this. These brushes are amazing because they're so soft. It just flows off it. It's amazing. It's like a sort of pen or something. My work is about art and art history in a small part, but the main part of it deals with the wider culture. So music videos feed in there, fashion, editorial, poetry, song lyrics, the world I find myself in. Well, I've got this blackboard, and as I always have music on while I work, and every now and then a song lyric comes up. I think, wow, and it gives me loads of images in my head. So I kind of write the words from the songs on here, and then slowly these, combined with images that I'm collecting or things I'm seeing, start to form into kind of compositions for painting. I'm using the matte gel medium to collage the lips onto the painting, I put a thin layer underneath the photocopy and then a thin layer over the top to really seal it in. The nice thing about the matte gel is that it's got a neutral pH, so it's not going to disintegrate the paper over time or anything. I think it's really important to use great materials when you make art. So, whether it's the acrylic spray paints or paint markers, some of the flow mediums I use to actually extend the paints so that they go on really smoothly and really flat. They're things that I really, really need, and that's why I use what I use. My work is pretty colourful, and it's really important to me that across the different media and materials I use, that colour's consistent. I don't want to use a spray paint and then have to spend 3 hours mixing the exact tone in acrylic paint to be able to finish off a passage of painting. I just want to be able to spray something, pick up a paintbrush, finish it off, and then grab a paint marker and outline it. And I don't want to have to worry, and it's great to be able to do that. I think it's vital to develop your own way of explaining or articulating your world. I think my advice is to stay true to yourself. Don't get competitive about things. You've really got to practice an awful lot, and you need to get in the studio, and you need to realise actually that the first 50 things you make are probably going to be pretty rubbish. But if you're curious and you're inquisitive and you let one thing lead to another thing, sooner or later you're going to hit on something that feels right. And at that point, you've got to have the courage to really go out there and share it with people.